This is the craziest thing I've ever seen, Jake. In between golf manufacturer trucks out there along the practice tee, you know, 100 yards offline.
And one of the options is go back to the tee. I don't know why he isn't going back to the tee.
Welcome to The Final Word. I am Shae Peppler, and to my left is Barry Rozner from The Score and the Daily Herald, and to my right is Teddy Greenstein from the Chicago Tribune. It's actually flip-flopped in my script, so I'm impressed I got that right.
You did that very well.
Yeah,
I was impressed, too.
Really difficult stuff. Happy Sunday. We got baseball, start of Shark Week, golf, which I know both of you two like, a little NASCAR. What did you enjoy the most today?
Oh, that's easy. I think Teddy will be with me on this one. It was definitely the golf. What Jordan Spieth did today was remarkable. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I got in my car after Jordan teed off on 13. I drove about a half an hour and didn't miss a shot, which is pretty novel. So the stuff that was going on out there was interesting, to say the least.
Well, we will get to golf later on in the show. Unfortunately, you two have to sit tight. In the meantime, let's talk a little baseball. We're going to start things out on the diamond with the Cubbies and the Cardinals in their final game of their series at Wrigley. So let's go on out and see what happened here. Joe Madden saying hello. Welcome back, David Ross. Letting him enjoy some time there in the dugout prior to the game. And then there's Jose Quintana making his first Wrigley Field start with the Cubs. He gets some help from his defense in the first. Jed Jerko doubles to the gap in left center. Matt Carpenter trying to score from first. That's really not a good idea. Wilson Contreras, the good guy here, though, being sure Carpenter is okay on the play. Second, now, Grichuk apparently going for a home run in every single game in this series, and it's working. The Redbirds then take the lead. But the Cubs answer back in the third, an RBI double by Jason Hayward, followed by this Kris Bryant, I'm going to call it an RBI blooper. And we were even now at 2. Cards, we're going back and forth. Regain the lead in the fourth. Paul DeYoung with the solo homer to center. He's had a great series as well. 3-2 now Cardinals. Bottom of the fourth, Kyle Schwarber crushes this one deep to right. That one is going. Where has it gone? We're not sure. That's his 15th to tie the game at 3. Then in the 6th, man on for Contreras. That one's gone as well. 2-run shot, his 15th of the year, 5th actually against the Cardinals. That puts the Cubs up 5-3. And that's how it's going to end, guys. Cubs win 5-3. The Brewers lost today, so if the Cubs win, they move into a first-place tie. If they win, they won. So now it's first-place tie in the NL Central. And they will be 5 games over the 500 mark for the first time this season, which is exciting. So going into tonight's game, the Cubs 7-1 since the break. Starting pitching ERA is only 2.16. They've allowed only 50 hits in 8 games, 7 of those home runs. The starters have walked only 9 guys while striking out 45, which sounds all really good. And Barry, you've been saying for a long time now, if the Cubs starting pitching can get going, they could be a great baseball team and one of the best in their division. Yeah, last 8 starts now, a 1.67 ERA with a whip of under 1. This is compared to a starting rotation that had a 4.66 ERA in the first half. That was the problem. We talked about all these other things, about the bad defense, which was bad, and the inconsistent offense, which it was. But it's really all about your starting pitching. You get that, and you're going to run away in this division. Here's the weird thing. The Cubs play tonight. They play tomorrow afternoon and Tuesday afternoon. Brewers don't play again until Tuesday night. The Cubs will have played 3 games and won them all and have a 1-game lead in the division by the time the Brewers play again. You know that what's helping that starting pitching is the defense. I mean, these guys were just showing off tonight. Hayward was sensational. Contreras time and time again. It was remarkable. And how about the relay throw to get out Carpenter there? So it's all coming into place. I'd like to see a clean game, though. Wouldn't you, Teddy? I mean, even tonight, Baez, first play of the game. He's real casual with it, hits him on the heel of the glove. I'd like to see them focused. I hear you. I mean, Lester almost throws a perfect game. We saw the other day, and it takes to the 8th inning for the bats to come alive. It's like they need to be clicking on all cylinders. Yeah, I mean, look, it's understandable. Coming off what they came off of last year, we knew there were going to be some struggles this year. I did not think the starting rotation, even with some regression, would have the kind of first half that they did. But it is coming along nicely now. Hendricks comes back tomorrow. Quintana's obviously throwing well. This looks very different all of a sudden. Yeah, and we're heading into a crosstown series. That's exciting. Let's talk about that trade deadline. Monday. Think Cubs make another move? What do you think, Teddy?
I mean, I think you got to take it right till the end. Now, obviously, the Cubs are scouting Yu Darvish, so there is certainly some interest there. But I think you see how Hendricks does, you see how Lackey does. If those guys are both okay, then you just think about the bullpen. Now, the only game I have witnessed in this stretch was Friday, when they gave up like 37 runs in that one inning. So after that game, you say, wait a second.
8th inning.
We need some bullpen help. So I would expect them to do a minor to medium trade and get an extra arm.
Yeah, they need a backup catcher. So, I mean, one guy to look at certainly is Alex Avila. He's not going to cost you a lot to get. That's a guy they'll certainly be looking at. Jonathan Lucroy from Texas is in play for sure. Darvish is definitely a name, but
Sonny Gray has been a name that's come up as well.
Well, Sonny Gray is more interesting because there's more control there. But for you, Darvish, as a rental, I just don't know that they have the package to get it done. Plus, I think they're going to sign you Darvish after the season, so I don't know that they're going to want to give up anything to get him now.
Well, and I think you can't really add a rotation guy at this point unless you want John Lackey to pull an Adam LaRoche and just like take off. I mean, he basically threatened to leave if they try to stick him in the pen, so there's really not a spot there.
Well, yeah, if there's a spot, if you get Yu Darvish, you say, John, thanks very much for last year. We're going to DL you for the rest of the year.
They're not going to do that.
You can hang around it. Hey, this is about winning. I don't care about John Lackey if you get Yu Darvish or Sonny Gray. That's what would happen. But I think you're right. They're really looking for bullpen help. That's a tired bullpen you saw on Friday, and you'll see more of that. They're definitely looking for more. I don't know if they can get Zach Britton, but Zach Britton has another year of control. Again, it plays into both now and the future.
Let's move away from pitching. Let's talk about Kris Bryant. He has returned from his pinky sprain, which I hate to laugh, but just a little pinky sprain. We all thought it might have been worse than that, but good news is he's back. He's got a glove on. He's feeling good. He has returned. His base running yesterday was impressive, and his ability to do that. Do you think that's been impressive so far this season?
Well, that play, that was unbelievable. I mean, that's something you just don't see very often. That's a guy with great baseball acumen. That's a guy who can read the ball off the bat and know the play while it's happening. I'm glad he slid feet first, by the way, this time.
I think we all took a sigh of relief during that.
But, yeah, that was an amazing play. I don't know that it was the best play of the year, but it was certainly one of the best plays of the year. I go with the Addison Russell home run in that Friday night game right after the break. I think that was a huge play. That might have saved their season in some respects.
Come on. Home runs trump base running any day of the week. Am I right, Teddy?
Chicks take the long ball. This much we know. But this example of base running is what all good base runners do, which is you keep going until somebody tells you to stop. You have the mindset of I am going to score unless somebody basically flags me down and tackles me going around third base.
It was a great read, though. Great call by Gary Jones to send him, but a great read by Bryant. He reminds me a little bit of Mark Grace. He's faster than Grace, but Grace was great at reading the ball off the bat. And he was a better base runner, really, than he had a right to be because he was slower than you and me, Teddy.
Big shoes to fill, Kris Bryant, if you just heard what Barry said. All right, we got lots more to get to on this edition of the Final Word, including the future of the White Sox. Rough weekend for the Southsiders. Where do they go from here? They're hoping that guy right there, Yohan Moncada, can lead them to the promised land. That plus the Bears start training camp next weekend in Bourbonnais. We know about the quarterback battle, but who will they be throwing to? We'll discuss a bit later here on the Final Word. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. White Sox and Royals in the barbecue capital of the USA. I can say that because I've been there. Derek Holland on the hill for the Sox. Had some problems, and that's probably being nice in the fourth. Whit Merrifield starts things off, puts the Royals on the board. 1-0 Royals. Next batter, Jorge Bonifacio. That one's gone too. Back-to-back bombs. 2-0 Royals. Next batter, Eric Hosmer, and you guessed it, back-to-back-to-back. 3-0 Royals. 9 homers given up by the Sox in the last 2 days. That's bad, okay? Sox did bounce back in the 5th. Bases loaded for Adam Engel, and he clears them. 3-run double. Tie the game at 3.
I love Adam Engel.
Let's go later on in the inning now, guys. Jose Abreu, he's going to hit this one right to the gap. So he'll drive in Engel, and the Sox, they take a 4-3 lead, but holding lead's not really their thing lately, so the home run haunts the Sox again. 8th inning, Merrifield facing Jennings, and that one's gone. His second of the game. We're tied at 4 to the bottom of the 9th. Royals, 2 men on. Brandon Moss doubles to the right field corner. That scores the winning run. Sox lose 5-4. That's 9 straight losses, the longest losing streak since September of 2013. So we all know the White Sox rebuild is in full swing. 9 consecutive L's is proof of that. But everything isn't miserable on the South Side. There is hope. And the poster child for that hope is Yohan Moncada. Moncada is the subject of our Save Big Money at Menards Fox feature. George Smith has the recap on Moncada's call-up to the bigs.
I'm happy. I'm just trying to enjoy the moment and trying to enjoy this opportunity. I'm in the big leagues right now, and this is where I want to be.
Everybody's excited. You know, obviously it's the first step of a long process. We're happy to have him here, have him get his feet wet.
It's not often that a proven Major League veteran drives to the airport to pick up the team's new rookie player. But that's exactly what happened Wednesday. Jose Abreu drove to O'Hare to pick up rookie Yohan Moncada.
I texted him and I asked him in the morning if he can pick me up in the airport, and he did it. I was glad to see him there. We played together in Cuba. We met in Cuba. And now to have the opportunity to play here together is something unique. And, you know, I'm really happy for that.
Moncada was 15 when he first met Abreu back in Cuba. At that time, Abreu was the best player in the country. 2 years later, Moncada was playing on the same team as the White Sox first baseman. Fast forward to 2016. Moncada got his first taste of the major leagues with Boston.
I learned that you have to be consistent in this game. That you have to find a consistent approach, and also that you have to try to enjoy the game.
After returning to the minors and coming to the White Sox organization, Moncada has been using his time in Charlotte to improve his game.
I've been working on everything. Probably the most attention that I've been putting is in my defense.
He's going to have his ups and downs, and hopefully we can allow him the opportunity to find out who he is, and you know, we can, when we can help and when we can, get out of his way.
And now Moncada gets his second chance to live his dream of being a Major League Baseball player.
I can feel that excitement. You know, that's something that made me feel happy too. You know, I just want to try to take advantage of it.
White Sox Nation is also hoping Moncada can take advantage of this opportunity. With the White Sox, George Smith for the final word.
All right, thank you guys. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you, George. Guys, now,
Yes.
Small sample size. 1 for 9 Moncada is. 3-run triple, 2 walks. What do you think of his performance so far?
I'm really impressed so far. You know, I don't know about you guys. I saw him a little bit with Boston last year, but not enough to really know. I love watching him play. I love his composure. I love his confidence. I love how quiet he is, Teddy. Shae, you watch him at the plate, his hands are very quiet. In the field, his glove is very quiet. His feet are quiet. There's a lot of confidence there. I've been really impressed so far. Look, I know it's a small sample size, but I like watching him play the game. I like that he's got gap power. I like the way he runs the bases.
He's
Teddy,
fast.
Shae, this is before your time. But Teddy, he reminds me a little bit of Joe Morgan. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
That elbow flapping.
I just think, you know, he's stocky. He's got some power, and he runs the bases really well. The kid could be really good.
Speaking of running the bases well, fastest time home to third by a Sox player this year, only 11 seconds.
He runs out of the box. Unlike Tim Anderson, he runs out of the box.
Tim Anderson rarely gets a chance to run out of the box. He's usually running back to the dugout.
He was benched the last 2 days because of that.
I like your analysis of quiet. I know you've been breaking down golf swings when you say that, because that's what they talk about with a good golf swing. He's got a quiet lower body, and that's what you like here. One thing that I like, he's struck out only 1 time. He's walked twice, and among modern players, I mean, that's amazing, because a lot of these guys, you know, strike out 40–50% of the time they're up there. So that is a good sign. He's showing some discipline and some patience.
All right, one guy left on this roster that has not been traded away yet. That'd be Melky Cabrera.
Yeah.
Does he get dealt before the trade deadline, which is next Monday?
Yeah, poor Melky. You know, a lot of times when a guy gets traded, he feels rejected, like, oh, this team doesn't want me. In this case, he must feel rejected that he's still here. Because let's be honest, he's basically playing with a AAA roster, and I'm sure he wants to go somewhere, and he's wondering, why doesn't a contender want me? But it hasn't happened yet. Now, he could also go after July 31st, depending on the waiver situation.
The answer is there's just not much of a market for bats right now. That's why he hasn't been moved. But I say he goes before July 31. A contending team is going to want to have that bat, if not in the lineup, at least to jump in a couple of times a week. He's a valuable guy.
Yeah, but he's got $6 million though left on his salary, and he hasn't really exactly played great defensively. But I guess those are just minor details.
I think he's been just fine defensively. How about me being the positive one
just
for a
fine
team?
isn't going to get you dealt, okay, Barry?
Yeah, his
you
bat
need to be a little bit better than just fine.
His bat gets him dealt shit.
All right, let's go to the Bulls now for a second. Rumors circulating, or were circulating, however you want to look at it, that Derrick Rose considering returning to the Bulls. How real of a possibility do you think that is, Teddy? Would we even want him back?
Barry Rozner has a better chance of suiting up for the Bulls next season than Derrick Rose. That much I can tell you. You know, management, once they got rid of Derrick Rose, they were absolutely thrilled. You know, some of the allegations came out in the civil suit that made them think, wow, you know, we really don't want him around, even though there was apparently no criminal activity. But no, they don't want him. One of the other reasons is because he reminds them of what could have been. Yeah. If he had stayed healthy, if Tibbs had put him on the bench at the end of that Philly game, they might have had a championship. So they want no part of this.
Yeah, he's not coming back. There's no chance in the world. Teddy's right. They want nothing to do with him at this point. And I can't dunk anymore. So if they're more interested in me than they are Derrick Rose, then I can guarantee you anymore. I could dunk on an 8-foot rim back in college.
Maybe.
Will Derrick Rose ever be back? Do you ever think he's going to return to that high-caliber player that he once was? I mean, I'm thinking 2011, which by now is a really long time ago. Does he ever go back to that player?
In basketball years, that's like 50 years ago. And he's just got a bad body. It was just a lot of bad luck. Some people will say he was just too small to play in this league, but it's not a league for big guys anymore, Teddy. Little guys are making it great in this league. He just had some bad luck with injuries.
He did, and I mean, when you have that style where you are scoring by penetrating, you're putting so much pressure on your body every night, so it's not like, you know, LeBron has the size and he can, you know, hit step-back jumpers. When Derrick was scoring, he was reckless going to the hoop.
How many times did Dwight Howard just crush him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick time out. Up next, we're going to talk some football. Bears training camp starts on Thursday. All eyes will be on the quarterback battle, but there are other battles that are maybe more important, hey, like Quentin Demps and the rest of the safeties. We're going to discuss that next, and we'll recap an incredible finish to the Open Championship. Jordan Spieth doing something that not even Tiger Woods has done. We'll show you how it ended up coming up later on The Final Word. Welcome back. We want to remind you there is a change at Bears training camp starting this season in Bourbonnais. You need a ticket to gain entrance to the practice fields at Olivia Nazarene University. The tickets are free, but you have to order them in advance on the Bears website, chicagobears.com. There's no limit, but every person entering, including children, will need a ticket. Bears linebacker Sam Acho hosted a mini Monsters clinic at the American Diabetes Association's Camp Crossroads and Camp Power Up of Chicago on Thursday. The mini Monsters clinic is a free youth program that stresses the importance of eating healthy, physical activity, and proper hydration through fun, non-contact football drills. And just being around football seems to have Acho juiced for training camp. Take a listen to this.
Yeah, I'm excited to get back to football. It's funny, I was doing some drills with the kids, and something in me had to force a fumble on one of the little kids, like an 8-year-old kid, and he got mad, but I was like, dude, this is football, come on, you know. And so I'm excited to get back. I cannot wait. Got a couple days before we get there, so but I'm excited. I've been working out with some of the guys, and it's good to see just guys get back together.
I love hearing Acho talk about training camp, and you're seeing the kids like run through different drills and things like that. Anyways, exciting stuff. Training camp starts Thursday. The team reports to Bourbonnais on Wednesday. All eyes are going to be on that quarterback battle, obviously. But is there another battle on the football field that we should focus on?
Well, there's a lot of position battles, Shae, which means you're not very good. That's what happens when you're not good. There's battles all over the place. I think the safety position is most fascinating to me because obviously outside the quarterback position, Demps has a job. I don't think there's much question about that. So the guy I'm interested in is Jackson. Assuming he's healthy, and they say he is, I think he's going to win a job. I mean, Amos, Bush, are you really that interested in these guys at this point? I think it's Jackson. I think that'll be fascinating. The other one is, will Zach Miller be on the field? If he's not on the field, it's probably Adam Shaheen's job, right? So if Zach Miller is out there, I'd like to see those two go at it. I'd like to see just what is an Adam Shaheen. I'm fascinated by that.
And Deion Sims in the mix with the tight end position
I don't know that he's really there to win a job. I think he was insurance.
Oh, okay. I disagree with you.
He's a blocking tight end. Is that exciting? That's not exciting.
No, but that's part of the position when you're a tight end is to block.
But they, you know, they need receivers, right, Teddy?
Well, receivers, they got a lot of them.
That's why whenever I add Deion Sims to my fantasy football team, I regret it because he's a blocker. now I finally know, and I am very curious about Shaheen, because that is something of a referendum on their draft style. But I'll be looking at receivers, and the guy I'm most rooting for to have a great training camp is Victor Cruz, because he can dance.
Can he get back to who he was?
Yeah.
1,000 plus receptions.
He could add some serious personality to this team.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're talking about Cameron Meredith. We don't know about Kevin White. But Victor Cruz could be a key guy. I mean, they need somebody to throw the ball to, so let's see if he works in.
I'm glad you mentioned Cam Meredith, because last year in training camp, he was their best player on offense. And he didn't get a lot of opportunities until there were injuries, and then he did.
Good season.
And I think he showed that he can play football. I think he deserves a spot.
Yeah.
So we think receiving core is really interesting to watch. You like the tight end position is really interesting to watch. Safeties is really interesting to watch. Any other position battles that you guys are curious in looking at? The offensive line, I think, could be sneaky good. Obviously, there's a lot of battles and movement going on the offensive line.
It's funny that you say that about the line, because we don't even know if Kyle Long is going to be healthy. I mean, the interior of their line is really good.
Yeah,
you're right.
Cody Whitehair anchors it, right.
Yeah, if Kyle Long is healthy. But, I mean, he's coming off a labrum which has not been fixed, and he's coming off a really serious ankle injury. So I think that's huge. The middle of their line would be very good if Long is healthy.
Right.
On the other hand, their tackles
it's a battle to watch.
Their tackles are terrible. So, yeah, maybe there will be competition there.
The guy who's rooting for Kyle Long really hard is Jordan Howard. And I was looking at this. I mean, he actually averaged more per carry. He was at 5.2 last year, and Zeke Elliott was at 5.1.
Yeah.
So if you're Jordan Howard right now, you're saying, hey, I'm going to have a big sophomore season. The other thing with him is he's a fifth-round draft pick, so he really has not cashed in very much. The NFL, it's really stacked against you unless you're taken in the first couple rounds. So he's an underpaid guy. He has to have a great year to really cash in.
Jordan Howard supposedly worked on his acceleration all offseason, and if he can improve that, obviously he can be a really dynamic player. But also, Jordan Howard used to playing on some difficult teams. He was at UAB. They canceled his football program. IU, which is historically towards the bottom of the Big Ten in football.
Loves him.
I did some early scouting, there's no doubt.
So Jordan Howard is used to kind of playing from behind, if you will. So, and I would know because I'm a Hoosier fan. So tell me who you guys think is the best player on the Bears right now as we head into training camp.
Well, I don't know. I guess I would go with Kyle Long if he were healthy, and that says a lot about your team when an offensive guard is your best player. Look,
well, you just had put question marks all over before you said that.
Their best player better be Mike Glennon.
Okay.
Leonard Floyd, you got to mention, but I would go with Howard overall.
Okay, yeah, we're all going to hope that it's Mike Glennon, I think, here. All right, coming up, we got to take a break really quick. Coming up after the break, if you missed the final 2 hours of the British Open, well, you missed a lot, okay, including this moment. Jordan Spieth walking through the equipment trailers. We'll explain what he was doing there on his way to receiving the Claret Jug after the break.